I am a double Panther, so I used to sit right in these seats that you all are in. I attended Clark Atlanta, graduated in 2011 and 2013, but we'll get into my background a little bit later. But I wanted to welcome you all to this evening's seminar, and it's called Connecting the Dots. All right, so first things first, workshop etiquette. So I want you all to, number one, be respectful of others. I hope tonight is engaging, that you all are participating, asking questions. So I just ask if people are talking that, you let everyone speak and no one's talking over one another. Also, please silence your devices. I do see some phones out, and that's totally fine, but please just make sure it's on vibrate, make sure it's on silent, and just respect me as well as the speaker. Also, as I mentioned, participate and have fun, ask questions. And then I also want you all to talk about your experiences. You all are resident hall assistants, so I want you all to talk about your experiences of working on campus and just some situations that you have been in as I go through the content on this evening. Okay, so I'm family. Please don't be shy tonight. I want you all to participate, okay? Okay, so as I mentioned, a little bit about me and my background. I came here, I actually started in 2006 as a freshman, flew all the way from the Bay Area. I'm from San Jose, California. Anybody from Cali? All right, okay. There's a few of us in here. And so I studied fashion merchandising and then also had a business minor. So after undergrad, I really didn't know what I wanted to do. So I had some mentors in the business department and they said, hey, Krista, have you thought about maybe getting an MBA? And I said, sure. I mean, I didn't want to work in a store full-time after having my degree, so that's really how I got into the business school. Studied supply chain management, and that's the field that I'm working into today. So after school, placed out in an executive leadership program, had amazing experiences. I traveled all over from Turkey to India, Canada, Mexico, a bunch of amazing experiences all on the company's dime. And so with that executive leadership program, I was able to really hone in on my skills as far as public speaking because I had to present in front of executives at least once every 8 months. That's how our rotations were. It was a 2-year program, and every 8 months we moved locations and had to present our experiences to that executive leadership. So after I graduated from the program, I moved to Phoenix, Arizona, and I was a materials manager. Got pretty burnt out there, and then decided to move to Southern California. Now, as we all know, California is very expensive. I knew it wasn't going to be long-term for me, but it was still an amazing experience. I worked for a French company, was still in the aerospace industry, but then I decided to come back to Atlanta. So during that time in 2017, I realized that I still wasn't fully, fulfilling my passion of what I really wanted to do around fashion and professional development. So that's really when I started my company of Critique Consulting. And so it's an image consulting firm that focuses on building up and enhancing your professional brand. Okay? And then lastly, I relocated in 2018 and I'm currently an IT project manager. I work for Manhattan Associates right in Marietta. And that's what I'm currently doing today. All right, any questions about my background? Okay, cool. Oh, you,
Sorry, I want to late. Can you give a quick summary?
I cannot give a quick summary, no, because you were late, so. All right, so. Oh, I'm sorry.
Life on campus in 2006.
So life on campus was definitely, I would say, different than it is today. Obviously, we didn't have COVID. But so I was a student athlete. I played volleyball, so I was very involved. I was in the Cali Club. I was also in SGA as the vice president. So I was heavily involved on campus. I stayed in Murner Hall. Where's the Murner Hall RA? Okay, so yeah, stayed in Murner Hall, best of them all. I was on the step team. We won first place. But I would say, yeah, it was exciting. The AUC and campus is so small. It's like a big high school. So everybody knows everyone, but it was just great energy. I loved my experience here, and that's why I'm here giving back all the time. I love to come back on campus and just pour into the students as much as I can because it was such a great experience. Thank you for that question. Anybody else? Yes.
So you're from California. Why did you decide to come to Sacramento?
So in San Jose, and I'm not sure if you're familiar with San Jose specifically, but there's not a lot of people that look like us. So oftentimes in my classroom, on my volleyball team, wherever, I was typically the only black person. So I'm a first generation college student, so I really didn't know much about college and applying and things of that nature. I just knew I wanted to go to an HBCU and I wanted to play volleyball. So, but yeah, being here and just learning about Black history, things that I wasn't taught in school, it has just been an amazing experience. A huge culture shock for sure when I touched down in the airport, but I have zero regrets at all. Thank you. Anybody else? All right. Okay, so what to expect for tonight? So we're going to be touching on 3 different topics. The first one is perfecting your professional profile, and we're going to get into the details of what that means. Dressing for success. You can see I brought some samples here. And then lastly, communicating with confidence, okay? And then we'll leave time for some Q&A. But if you do have questions throughout my presentation, just raise your hand, and then I'll be sure to call on you, okay? Okay, so first things first, what was your first impression of me? Did you say something?
Oh, I said giving rich.
Oh, appreciate that. Okay, thank you, I received that. Anybody else? Come on, we all, okay.
Like you're put together. You look very presentable.
Thank you. Anybody else? Nothing's off the table, so I just want to hear the honest truth.
You have good speaking, like you know how to pull attention with the crowd.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Yeah.
I was surprised that you were fashion week. I thought it was going to be business.
Okay, okay. All right. Cool. All right, so studies have shown that it only takes 7 seconds for someone to form an opinion or their perception of you. So whether you said anything or not, there was some stuff going through your head, whether when you walked in the room and you saw me or you looked at the presentation, you're like, I wonder what this woman's going to talk about. But it was either positive or negative. But again, it only takes 7 seconds. So tonight we're going to talk about not only how to make a positive first impression, but to make a positive lasting impression. All right. So the first thing that we're going to talk about again is perfecting your professional profile. So first things first, the resume. Did everyone bring their resumes tonight? Okay, can you just pull them out, please? I just want to quickly glance. All right. Thank you all for bringing them. Excellent. Okay, does everybody have pens? No. No? How are you going to take notes? All right, take 2 seconds to get a pen from your neighbor. I think I might have 2. Here's one. Who needs a pen?
Are we going to write on our resume or something?
Yeah, I'm not collecting them. Yeah. This is for you, by the way. I'm not going to collect them. All right, we good? So, are we good? Oh, you got a pen. Okay. Anybody else need a pen? Okay, cool. So, first things first, your resume should be 1 page. A 1 page, okay? If it's longer than 1 page, it's probably either some formatting, maybe you have too much white space, or maybe you just need to consolidate what's on there, okay? So 1 page, and you should also have a PDF version of your resume. So if it's in Google Docs or Microsoft Word, you never really know how that potential employer, what type of software they use. So sometimes that formatting doesn't show up the way that it shows up on your screen. So that's why I always recommend that you do a PDF document, okay? It's very easy to send, and you can be sure that the format shows up correctly. Next thing, you want to focus on your accomplishments versus the tasks. So yeah, we want to know what you do, but also what did you accomplish while you were in that role, right? You want to focus on the highlights, not necessarily just tasks. Also your core competencies. Now, a cheat sheet thing that I do is whenever I apply to a job or I find something interesting, I look at that job description, and that's the competencies that I highlight on my resume. It makes sense, right? If a job is looking for someone who works hard, who is a good listener and things of that nature, of course I'm gonna put that on my resume, right? I work hard, I'm a good listener, so I make it easy for the employer to know, hey, let's give this girl an interview. Also, so I know some of you, who in here is a sophomore? Okay, juniors? All right, any seniors? All right, okay, exciting. So I'm not sure if you all have had any full-time work experience, maybe during the summer, internships or co-ops, but if not, you can still highlight your experience on campus on your resume, and I hope you all know that. So whether it's work study, I was a teacher's assistant, I worked in the I was a graduate assistant in the athletics department. So all of this is great experience that you can highlight on your resume, right? Whether you're leading a team, you're a liaison for the students to the staff, you're the face of the institution, right? For parents when it's time to move in. These are all key things that you all should be highlighting on your resume. And then lastly, class projects and clubs and organizations, and specifically leadership positions. So if you are involved or if you're not involved on campus, number one, I highly recommend that you get involved in some clubs and organizations, right? And then not only that, but also volunteer to take a leadership or run for a leadership position, because that's what employers look for. We don't want just the regular students that go to class and go home. No, we want to know the ones that go step outside of the student experience and really add to that campus atmosphere. All right, any questions so far on this? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down each section of the resume, okay? So first section is the heading. So, and I saw this a little bit when I walked around, but your name should be the largest font and in bold on your resume. This should be the easiest thing to find. If I can't find your name, that's an issue, okay? Largest font, bold. Also, your key contact information should also be listed. So I have my phone number, my email, and my LinkedIn profile. Does anyone have their address on their resume? All right, so we should not be putting our address on the resume. You want to guess why? Huh? Stalkers, okay. Yes.
That can lower your chances of getting a job based on like relocation.
Exactly. Exactly. You don't want to put yourself in a situation where the employer says, oh, Krista lives in California, we're not about to pay for her relocation. Because what can happen is once you get that interview and you wow them, now you can negotiate that as a part of your salary, right? Negotiate those relocation fees. So I highly recommend that you take your address off of your resume. All right, next part is the candidate summary. Oh, yes.
So does that include like the university address as well? Depending on my
Yep, I would remove that because you're not always going to be here, right? And your address is going to change next year. Yep. Any other questions? All right, cool. So the next thing, we have also gone away with objectives. So that's another thing that, you know, some professors might still argue with me, but the objective is obsolete. So now we focus on candidate summaries. All right, so you should have a summary of all of your experience, and really this is the time that you toot your own horn and really highlight who you are as a candidate. And then lastly, your top skills, and this should be in bulleted form. And again, use that cheat sheet, that job description, right? Those requirements, use that to highlight your top skills. And just make sure that they're accurate, because you don't want to say you're an Excel guru or you know this SQL and all this, and then you get the job and then you're lost, right? So you want to make sure that you're also honest when you're filling it out. All right, so that's the heading. Now we're getting into your current work experience. So first things first, you want to make sure that your role is bold. You want to make sure that your location and the dates that you are employed there are also listed. So for you, putting the resident assistant, it would be 2021 to present, or however long you've been in this role. All right. Another thing that I wanted to highlight is you want to make sure, because this is your current role, everything is in the present tense. So you don't want to say I led or I organized. No, because you're currently doing it, right? So make sure your tense is also appropriate. Oh, I just said that. All right, so, and then the last thing is you want to, if you need help just filling out this section, you can use the job description. I'm sure you guys probably have it when you applied for the role. You applied for this position, right? And interviewed? Okay. So yeah, if you need to pull some verbiage from that job description, feel free to use that. And then also highlight anything additional that you've done. So any extra projects that you may have implemented or new processes that you helped to create or made efficient, this is where you'll want to highlight that, okay? Let me know if I'm going too fast too. All right, any questions on this? Yes.
I might have a question.
Mm-hmm.
My resume looks exactly like this, but I just had a resume review
Mm-hmm.
with some executives from a company, and they told me that it was too much, it was too many words.
Mm.
They told me to just dumb it down to bullets, because they're not bullets, mine are sentences, but less words, more adjectives,
Mm-hmm.
just single words. So what do you say about that? Because yours looks like mine.
Mm-hmm. So I would agree. As someone who interviews, when I look at resumes, I do want it to be as concise as possible. However, I'm not sure if they told you it should be like full sentences, right? Or they just said phrases. I'm not sure what did they recommend specifically?
So, for example, I have on here, it's in present tense, but I have in front of it, I am achieving and exceeding individual sales goals, blah, 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 blah. They told me to take out I am and put, you know, the present tense, but it's too long.
Mm-hmm.
They
Okay.
just want me to put a single word.
Yeah.
So, I didn't think that was enough information for who's ever reviewing.
Yep. So the key thing is with executives, their attention spans are so short. And they're not even going to read every single line, just to be completely honest. They're skimming for keywords, and they're looking for, and you'll see, because I'm going to talk about percentages and dollars, but that's what they look for. So yes, I would agree. And some may say that my resume might be too long as well. It might be a little bit too wordy. So yeah, I totally agree. Focus on exactly what you did. It doesn't necessarily have to be complete sentences, but they're skimming that resume specifically for those keywords and achievements. Good question.
I'll add to, I think the industry is also important.
Mm-hmm.
For some industries will like more short, direct, and then others might like a little bit more linked as to what the responsibilities are.
Exactly. And I meant to say this in the beginning, but resumes are so subjective, okay? So today I'm telling you this information, but there's going to be a professor or another professional development coach that might tell you something totally different. But I'm speaking from my experience and then what I've seen from the application as well as the interviewing side. So just take it with a grain of salt, okay? But listen to what I'm saying. No, I'm just kidding. All right. So now we're getting into the second section, which is your work history. Now, in this piece, you can see it's very consistent. So I have 3 bullet points per job, right? I'm not getting into all these details. I'm highlighting boom, boom, boom. This is what I did. So yes, 3 bullet points. I would say that's the max, because then you're starting to get into 2-page territory. And again, it should just be 1 page. Also, highlight and explain, so anything unique that you may have done. So like, for example, when I talked about the leadership program that I did, I want to highlight that, right? Because it's not just a normal day-to-day job. It's an executive development rotational program. So I definitely called that out in my resume, and I recommend that you do the same. Now, full-time work experience, gaps. So once you start working full-time, because obviously this wouldn't apply for internships, but keep in mind, you should not have any gaps in your work experience because it raises red flags, okay? So I understand some people take gap years and you go travel the world, and that's great. But I used to do resumes for people that either were released from prison or were in shelters. And it's very difficult for them when the employers, see those gaps in your resume, it just raises red flags. So it just creates questions that you don't want to answer. So be sure that you don't skip anything when you do create your resume, okay? Because sometimes you might leave a couple months off, or you might not realize that you're doing it, but just know that it does raise a red flag. Okay.
Question for you.
Yes.
So with, Ty, how long you been already? So what I want to get to, so with their positions, particularly RA or maybe leadership positions, right? Those are based on the school year.
Mm-hmm.
So how would you recommend that they date those on the resume? So Ty's been RA for 3 school years, right? So
Yes.
let's say 2018 to 22, does he specify, the 18-19 school year, 19-20 school year?
Mm-hmm.
So what are your thoughts on that, with their positions being based on the school term?
So are they also staying in that position during the summer, or are they taking summer internships?
They could stay for the summer, but most of them don't.
Okay. So I would say if you have an internship between those time periods, I would include that. If not, I would just say the full however many years. Mm-hmm. All right, and then the last thing, highlighting what was your name? With the blue hat. Mm-hmm. Miracle. Yes. What Miracle's question was, you want to make sure that you can highlight and quantify your impact. How much money did you raise, or how much money did you save, right? What % impact efficiency did you have on a process? Let's say you revamped the check-in process for students. You should be capturing that. That's amazing. You have a process map and you say, hey, we should cut out steps X, Y, and Z and we'll save 30 minutes. If you multiply that by how many move-ins and you multiply all that, it's a huge impact, okay? So there's no impact that's too small, and you might think, oh, it's just 5 minutes, because that actually adds up, not only to time, but also dollars. And that's really what these organizations want to see, is the impact that you make, that you can make, okay? Does that make sense? Yeah.
When you say how much money did you raise or save, that's just in general or like during the job? Because I don't know, I don't like really telling my business like that.
So what do you mean your business?
I mean, my money is my business.
No, so I'm,
Like
Organization-wise, how much
No, I'm saying like, you know how they be like, mind your business. I'm saying like, it's my business how much money. Like, I just don't get why you have to put how much we raise or save.
You don't have to. I mean, she's just saying that it'd be better for you to.
No, I'm asking like why. I've never heard that before.
so for example, let's say I work at Clark Atlanta and I'm an RA. I'll use my move-in example, right? So let's say I improve the process. So now instead of taking 2 hours to move in, it now takes 1 hour. So this 1 hour is now subtracted from everyone's, let's say, overtime, right? When you work overtime, this is all hypothetical, you're making extra money. So now that you cut those hours and you cut that money, you're saving the institution money, right? By improving a process. So you want to capture those dollars that you save the institution. Does that make sense? So you're...
let's say the money that you raised or saved personally, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is for your job. So
Okay, I thought you meant like personally. That's
Oh, no. No, it's specifically for the job that you worked at. But no, I totally agree, that's your business, okay?
if you're the treasurer of SGA and y'all do this new exciting fundraiser,
Mm-hmm.
it makes $10,000, right? And that's the largest fundraiser that SGA ever had, right? That's something, if you led that initiative, that's something that you want to highlight.
Absolutely, great example. Has anyone led a fundraiser in here? Yeah, you did? 2? Okay, a few people, great. Has anyone improved a process for the Resident Hall Association? No? Okay, well now you guys have some time, some things to think about over the summer.
That is a hard task. Right.
Sounds like a lot of opportunity. All right, let's move on to the last section. So education, make sure you put the city and state that the school is located. I can't tell you how many times people ask me, where is Clark Atlanta University? They ask me that all the time. So definitely put, are you guys okay in the back? See, there's a lot going on back there. Okay. All right. So again, you want to put the location, the city, and the state that your school is located in. Okay, yep.
So don't put high school.
So I don't think it's important. I don't think you're high. It depends. Because what year are you? You're a sophomore?
Whoa, no, I'm a senior.
Oh, you're a senior.
Graduated high school.
Oh, okay, okay. So, I mean, honestly, it's up to you. If you're just looking to take up space on your resume, you can add it. But I don't really, unless you're like a 4.0 student or there's something specific you want to highlight during your high school career, like you're a valedictorian, maybe you're a 3-sport athlete, something like that you want to highlight. Otherwise, I would leave it off. Yeah. Any other questions on education? Also, GPA, that's another question that I get a lot. So it is optional. If it's below a 3.0, I wouldn't list it. And then, no, I mean, I've seen it all. If it's below 3.0, do not list your GPA. Also, I would say probably around 3 years after you graduated, I would just take it off because after 3 years, it really doesn't matter. And then be sure to,
Just add, so, you know, I look at resumes all the time when we're hiring people. So if I just see Clark Atlanta, MBA, BA, this, I mean, I'm not even gonna think about what your GPA was, right? But once you put it there, and it's below 3.0, then I'm like, no, right?
exactly.
So it's not even there, I'm not even gonna think about it. But if you put it there, you open yourself up to some other things.
Exactly. Good point. Yeah.
What about for like, the process of going to law school or medical school? Should it still be there for like, the purposes of them looking at it or whatever jobs that you may obtain while you're going through that process?
So do you mind repeating that question? I didn't really catch.
I'm saying, so like, you're saying like if you graduate like 3 years after you graduate, if you plan on going to law school or graduate school or medical school, should you still keep it there for the purposes of other employers looking at it there, or maybe the university or the college that you're going to looking at it there?
So not for employers, no. But for the colleges, you'll be submitting your transcript, right? So then they'll see your GPA, they'll see all the classes that you took. So you wouldn't need to put it on your resume. Yeah. Good question. All right. And then the last section, so this could be your extracurricular, any organizations that you're in on campus, whether you play a sport or you're in a sorority or fraternity, any extracurricular activities, this is where you're going to list that. And then also include the month and the year that your certification or your membership was obtained in descending order. Okay, so start from the present to the last thing. Make sense? Okay, good. Okay, now the cover letter. So I get questions on this all the time. Are these obsolete? Are they necessary? Obsolete, excuse me. Are these necessary? And really, it just depends. So some organizations, when they ask you to apply, they will ask for a cover letter. Some, in the upload, they might say upload additional documents. So I think a cover letter is something good to have just in case, but it's definitely not a requirement. But it's just something to, again, highlight, who you are, what you want, why you're a good fit for the role. So I would say it's good to have one. So just really quickly, and I do have templates for both the resume and the cover letter that I'll have for you all. But just really quickly, address the hiring manager by name. So this is like more of a personal introduction. Still keep it professional, but if you can address the hiring manager by name, please do so. Call out where you saw the posting. So a lot of times employers want to know, where did you hear about us? Was it on our careers website, LinkedIn, monster.com, those types of search engines. And again, we're using the job description and the requirements to highlight our key competencies and our skills. And then the last thing, again, using the job description to use your competencies to talk about how you're a great fit for the role, okay? Don't reinvent the wheel. And then the last thing, so you want to let them know how you would like to be contacted. Some people prefer phone calls, some email. So you just want to make sure you list that there, as well as always say thank you because they took the time to actually read your letter. Any questions on the cover letter? Yes.
The address at the top left, is that the company's address?
So that is my email address and my phone number. Yes.
Maybe take pictures.
Yeah, you can take.
Got a template.
Yep, you could take pictures, but I do have a template that I'll be emailing to you all. Yep. All right, moving right along. Okay, so frequently asked questions. First one, should I add a picture to my resume? This one is personal preference. So I'll talk about my experience as someone who has interviewed candidates. Now, I will say the only time that I found a picture to be beneficial is when I'm at a conference. So if I'm at like National Black MBA or the AUC Career Fair and I'm talking to 50, 60, 70 people, I'm gonna forget who this person is. And we try to take notes on the backs of resumes, but you try to be discreet about it. I might say, okay, blue hat or, you know, red hair. But sometimes when I have seen pictures, a professional headshot, okay, not just any picture, but a professional headshot, and we'll get into that a little bit later, but that has been beneficial. Now, if you're just applying for a job online, I'm probably gonna look up your LinkedIn or I'm gonna Google you, so not necessary. So the only time I've seen it be beneficial is if I'm at a conference, okay? Should I change my resume based on the job? Yes. Your resume should reflect the role and it should cater to the type of role that you, and industry specifically, that you are trying to get into. So I have a supply chain resume, I have a fashion resume, because those are not gonna be the same, right? I'm not gonna use the same terms and competencies for fashion versus supply chain. Is this censored? Can I include my website or link to a personal portfolio? I got a resume and it had a photography portfolio. This was for an IT consultant. Why are you sending me your photography portfolio? I would say no. Unless it directly relates to the job that you're applying to, I would say no, do not include that information. Oh, my bad, sorry. All right, social media, don't include it. Unless you are applying to be a social media manager, don't include it because we're probably gonna look you up anyway. And then the last thing, do I need to add references or note that a reference is available upon request? This used to be something that was always on resumes, but the answer is no. So you don't need to add that. Anybody still have that on there? A couple people, okay. Yeah, did you have a question? So if I need a reference, I would just reach out to you. It's kind of like you don't really need to say it. Like it's that type of thing. It's just taking up more space on the page. But yeah, honestly nowadays references are Google. They could reach out to your last company, but it really depends on most likely the industry that you're applying to. Government jobs, yes. If you're trying to work for the government, they're gonna call whoever is on your list as a reference and they're gonna interview them. But other industries are a little bit more laid back.
I
Do you have a
call for references more than I honestly thought I would. So some jobs do call first, and they're typically city or government jobs or state jobs.
Mm-hmm.
The last one was a work study student, and she was applying to be a 911 dispatcher. So they called. So some jobs do call.
Yep. So make sure whoever you do list as a reference is a good reference.
And I'll add, she emailed me maybe a week before they actually called me.
Mm.
Told me that, hey, I listened to you, just FYI. Because had they called me, her name wouldn't rung a bell for me. But she emailed me, she said, I used to sit at the front desk, I was kind of quiet, like she painted this whole picture. I was like, oh, I remember her. And so then when they called, I was able to give them a reference. But had she not emailed me, probably would have been so.
Right. Like, that doesn't ring a bell. Yes.
So you said you be looking up people 9 out of 10 times. Like if you don't find a person when you look them up, like where do you go after that? Is that like a good thing or a bad thing?
Honestly, it's not that deep for me. I'll just Google you or look at social media, and if I don't find anything, I'm not gonna say it's a red flag or like search even further. It's just kind of like a quick search. Or they have a LinkedIn. Okay, I'll look at your work history, but it's not that critical. But I also work in software, so it's not. I don't work for the government, but they're gonna dig as deep as they need to. Yeah. Any other questions? Yes.
I had a question about why would you put candidate summary over objective?
So objective is pretty much, it's kind of redundant to the, I mean, it's redundant because that's why you have a resume, right? So objective is to obtain a job in the supply chain field. It's like, well, we know that. That's why you have a resume. That's why you're applying. So it's kind of like not really necessary. That's why I say, but your candidate summary, that's where you're highlighting, hey, I'm an amazing X, Y, and Z, and then let me tell you why. And that's when you get to your specific experience. Does that make sense? Okay. All right, I'm loving the questions. Keep them coming. Yeah.
That's something else, and I'm telling y'all this really from my experience of interviewing people, right? Resumes. So she asked the question, should I change my resume and cover letter based on the role I'm applying for? My answer is yes, right? You also have to make sure that you're very strategic with that, because I get cover letters from people all the time for another job that they apply for. When they forgot to change the job title before they submit it, right? Don't make that mistake. So you know what I'm doing with that? Next.
Tossing it.
Not even, no, next. Right? Because in this type of job, we need detail-oriented people, right? And you can't submit a cover letter or resume that's specific to the job. You don't pay attention to detail. So I'm already putting to the side from the beginning, right? So really, really pay attention to those fine details when you're submitting your documents.
Yes. Great point. Yeah.
Okay, so for one of my classes, they had me put like my relevant courses on there. Should I leave that on there?
No, yeah. So I would definitely leave those on there, especially if you don't have a lot of work experience. So for me, it wouldn't make sense for me because I've been out of school 10 plus years. But absolutely, for you, the courses that you're taking, it makes sense.
And that's also, again, one of those things that's really specific to the industry, the market, and the job that you're applying for. Some jobs really want to know what classes you took that really pertain to that job. So that's really important as well based on the industry.
And specifically, so for me, like I mentioned before, I work at a software company. So they want to know that you've taken those C++, and I'm not a technical person, so I don't know all the terms, but they want to know that you've taken those classes. So that's a great example when it's industry specific. All right, and then the last thing, LinkedIn. Who in here does not have a LinkedIn profile? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so before the end of this semester, what year are you? Okay. Okay. Who else didn't have one? What year? You're a sophomore, okay. All right, so create your LinkedIn ASAP is basically my point, okay? Everybody should have a LinkedIn. That is the professional social network, and it's so easy to obtain jobs and to just, everyone is at your fingertips on LinkedIn. So definitely create your profile ASAP. All right, you want to make sure you have an up-to-date professional headshot, so which you all should have or will be getting. Also, personalize your URL. If you don't know how to do that, I can show it to you if you have your computer, but it's pretty easy in your settings, so just it should be your first name and last name. If there's multiple of that, then just add a number or something easy to remember, because this is going to go on your resume, right? Also, this about section, this is where you're going to shine. So it could be catchy. You can add a little bit of humor, a little bit of personal fun facts about you. But remember, this is still a professional network, so just keep it professional. All right, any questions on LinkedIn? Okay, cool. Do you all use LinkedIn? No, not really. So it is a really powerful tool. Did you have a comment?
Oh, no, I'm saying I do.
Okay, good.
That's only because of my mom.
Oh, okay. What does your mom do?
She works at Verizon.
Okay.
She's
Okay.
trying to give me an internship. I don't want to work.
Okay. Yeah.
So what's the difference between LinkedIn and Indeed? Like, are they like the same?
So I have not really used Indeed. I will say LinkedIn is more of a social network for everyone to go on to. So you can post articles on there. Now it's becoming a lot more social. I don't know if Indeed is that type of platform where I think it's just posting and applying for jobs, correct? Yeah, so LinkedIn does a lot more, and you're able to connect with other people. So like you can now have followers on LinkedIn, but you can see where people went to school and what companies they work for and just connect with them based on that. So let's say you want to work at Macy's. Well, let me pull up Macy's, and literally you can see the employees at Macy's and connect with them. The HR people, it's like so easy, yeah. Did you have a comment?
My question was kind of similar to this, but I'm mostly on Handshake. That's like is it like, would you say it's better or like LinkedIn, is it better?
I would say personally, yeah, LinkedIn would be better. Handshake does give us the updated as far as what the school's working with or the programs that we do work with. But you can also find them on LinkedIn and connect with them. Like, hey, I heard off of this app that my school works with. Company. It's kind of like LinkedIn. Kind of to me seems like the Facebook and like the business world.
That's a great way to put it. I also don't even know what Handshake is, so that might answer the question. I don't know what that is. I don't have a Handshake. Yeah, I don't know. Do you create a profile?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just like,
I feel old.
It's the platform our career center uses
Okay.
to connect students with employers and jobs.
Oh, okay.
It's a short version.
Right. Did anybody else have a question? Oh.
To piggyback on what y'all said about Handshake, y'all hear me?
Yes.
Because we use Handshake at Georgia State when I worked there as well. Handshake is good when you're an undergrad, but talking to like my seniors or people that want potential careers outside of Florida, Atlanta, I would definitely recommend LinkedIn. So to put it in like our terms, LinkedIn is basically Instagram but for business. So you can post highlights in your day. So I know if you're interested in higher education, so higher education jobs are what Mr. Carter does, what the CDs do, what Mr. Marcus and Cav does, what Ms. Adams does, any position that's on a campus or university level. If you're interested in that, join LinkedIn now. Because you can post stuff like, hey, I just got training, I just got an in-service in my RA training, and you can post that, use hashtags, and your potential employers can see that that's what you've been doing. So like when I had my interview for Clark, they had a list of people that was going to be on my Zoom call. So I'm one of those people that needs to see someone to not be nervous. So I looked all of them up on LinkedIn. So I looked up their profile, I looked up where they previously worked, I looked up, basically they're just their profile, just like Instagram. So when I came into my interview, I had questions like related to them. So it makes you seem like a well-rounded candidate when you're looking for jobs because you already did your research. So it's literally Instagram. I promise you it's Instagram.
Now, you're not posting on LinkedIn that, right, that you walking your dog, and going with your girls to get a drink, right? But like, things, social things that are related to your professional development, right?
Exactly.
So, like, for example, you could post something from tonight, like, shit, like, that's a really good example, right? So you can post that in a social way, but it's also related to your professional development.
Yes, great points. Great points. Thank you. All right, so now we're moving on to section 2. Dressing for success, my favorite section and thing to talk about. All right, so the first thing, dressing for success. All depends on the industry and the role that you are going into, right? So dressing for success when I work in education might look different than dressing for success if I worked in law or medicine or technology. So the first thing that you want to do when you're interviewing or when you get a job is ask that HR professional, what is the culture of the organization and how do you all typically dress? Also, dress for the role that you want. What does that mean? Yep.
Basically look the part.
And what does that mean?
So basically, like, if you want that, like, something I always say is, like, I do my Olivia Pope on a budget, so.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, absolutely. If you want to be the boss, you got to come in looking like the boss, right? Don't wait for the promotion to start dressing up and looking the part. You want to already show up in that light. All right, and then finally, eliminate distractions. So just anything that might create noise, like if I came up here with a bunch of bangles, that would probably be distracting, right, during my presentation. So just try to eliminate those types of things. So now I'm going to talk about building your wardrobe. And I do know as college students, you know, you're on a budget. Well, most of you, you know, I walked around and I've never seen so much designer on a college campus. So that's what I used to shop at the West End. Okay, don't judge me. I used to go to 579 and Rainbow. I was cute, but that's where I used to shop. So seeing all these designers, just like, wow. But anyway, so, huh? Okay. You want to invest in staple pieces. So now what does that mean? It means that yes, you might be spending a little bit more money on them, but you have to think about your cost per wear, not necessarily the cost of the item, right? Because if you're wearing this blazer for the next 5 years, okay, it was $150 or it was $100, but over 5 years, it's not that much, right? So it's worth it. So when you start to shop and think about your opportunities and the types of roles that you're going to go into, always think about your staple items. Also, stay away from trends. And I can't stress this enough because I know we are a very trendy culture and everybody wants to be in the latest and greatest and we want to post it on Instagram. But you have to think in a couple months or in a month, this is not going to be in style. And now you spent $100 and now you can't even wear this piece anymore because it's not in fashion. So you want to stay away from those trends. If you want to buy some off of, you know, one of these cheaper sites, okay. But just think about that when you're spending your money. And then the last thing, know your body type and your colors. So a lot of times in business, people think, oh, it's just blue, black, gray, brown, and that's it, and white. But no, you can definitely add some color. I brought some pieces here that I'll talk about a little bit later, but especially color on our skin looks amazing. So don't be afraid of color, okay? Seriously. I used to be afraid to wear color, but not anymore. Any questions so far on wardrobe? All right. So now we're going to get into some essentials, and I brought just a few pieces that I want to talk about today. So these are all essentials that every professional woman should own. Now, everyone in this room, I highly recommend that you start thinking about building your wardrobe if you don't already have one. So some of you might already have all these pieces, but I just wanted to show a few examples. So when we talk about the white blouse, some people just think it has to be a button-up crisp, and it doesn't necessarily have to be that. Yes, that is great to have, but then there's also some good options that can fit more of your personality, that can be dressed up, dressed down as business casual. But just wanted to show you, see, I have some pearl embellishments. I love my pearls, that's my birthstone. So whenever I see something with pearls on it, that definitely reflects my personality. Also, cardigans. I love good animal print. So this is a fun cardigan. You can wear it to work. It's appropriate. I would put this probably with an all black outfit or maybe even, you know, a white top and some jeans and some black shoes. But when it comes to business, don't feel like you might lose yourself. Definitely use pieces that will reflect your personality. Also, I wanted to talk about the denim. So a lot of companies are now starting to implement like casual Fridays. So I highly recommend that everyone gets a pair of medium wash denim jeans. Okay, so the reason for that is because dark is typically going to be worn in the fall, the winter, and then light wash jeans are going to be in spring, summer. But medium wash, you can literally wear these all year. And the key thing is you have to make sure that they don't have any rips in them. So no distressed denim at work, okay? Solid, clean, straight leg or skinny jeans. All right, what else did I want to talk about? So the dresses. Now, ladies, I want you to write this down. I want you to write fit and flare. For those of you that wear dresses, if you don't wear dresses, don't write it down. Fit and flare. And then also the wrap dress. These are two types of dresses that accentuate any body type, right? So we want to make sure our waist is snatched. So when you think about wrap dresses and you have this rouging detail, it's going to make you look like you have a nice flat stomach, right? Also, fit and flare is basically just it's fitted at the top and then it flares out. So you don't necessarily have to worry about, again, just covering up that midsection. Because if you don't have that now, just wait till you get older. No, I'm just kidding. All right, so those are the types of dresses. And then lastly, the blazer. So I brought just a couple of blazers. This is the first one I wanted to talk about because there's a term called elevated basics. Does anyone know what that means? No, nobody's heard that term? Yeah. Do you know what it means?
From my understanding, it's like basic wear that has like a little pop. So, for example, that's a basic blazer, but it has gold buttons.
Exactly.
It's a little pop.
Exactly. So there are some people, you know, you might not be conservative or you might be consider yourself fashionable. So there are options where, yes, this is a black blazer, but I have my pop of my bling. So yes, this is absolutely appropriate for work, but it makes me stand out a little bit, right? So just some things to keep in mind. Business wear does not have to be boring. All right, and then the last thing I do want to talk about is the color of the suiting. So I highly recommend, and there are some professors that disagree with me, but I always recommend that a charcoal gray suit should be your first business suit. Charcoal gray. And the reason for that is because it has the most diversity in what you can wear with it. So you can wear black shoes, you can wear nude shoes, you can wear navy shoes. Gray is going to have the most versatility of what you can wear. So I recommend a gray suit, then a navy suit, and then another gray suit, then a black suit. So that's kind of the order that I recommend as you all start purchasing your suiting. Oh, we're not in men yet. And then also as far as shoes, so closed toe, whether it's flats or pumps, closed toe is always appropriate in the workplace. There are some people that do wear open toe. However, when it comes to being professional, when it comes to interviewing, you should be in a closed toe pump or a flat. All right, any questions on the women's wear?
I have a question. So, like, is Converse business-wise? Can it be business-wise?
Converse tennis shoes? I would say not for an interview. You can probably get away with them on casual Friday, maybe, depending on the culture of your organization, but I would not wear them to an interview. Yeah. But again, it depends on your company culture. I used to work in the Bay Area at a medical device company, and in the Bay Area, we know it's very lax. It's, what do they call it? Silicon Valley. So that culture there is you could wear Converse to work, but I wouldn't wear them to the interview. You want to get in the door first, see the lay of the land, and then you can dress accordingly.
What if you don't wear, like, heels? So flats would be your best bet.
Mm-hmm.
So it's no sneakers, that's business attire.
So there are some leather sneakers, like Cole Haan makes some cute leather sneakers that would be appropriate that you could actually wear with a suit. But again, I wouldn't wear sneakers to an interview. I would wait and I would see what the culture looks like. I would wear flats to an interview. Yeah, but there are some cute leather sneakers. Yeah, Steve Madden makes some too. Any other questions? Okay. All right, then we're moving on to the men's. So I did have an example here. So for the men in the room, what's the rule about the belt and the shoes? Please match. All right, great. What about the fit of the blazer? So what are some, can you come to the front? What are some key things that you should look for when you know your suit fits? So let's talk about the blazer, the jacket first.
Me personally, I like for my sleeve to at least be a few inches above my white shirt.
Okay.
So that would be me.
What about this part?
Don't let it be too long.
How do you measure that?
Sometimes just let the lady just tailor it on me. I never did like really physically be like, I want it right here.
So a good rule of thumb is when you cuff your hand, it should be like right there.
Okay,
Yep.
cool.
What about the pants?
Make sure it's your waist. Make sure you get your pants tapered and hem. Make sure your pants make sure the taper isn't so tight to the point where you sit down and your pants come all the way up here and you stand up, it's still right there.
Right.
Make sure it's like it fall directly on top of your shoe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's good. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, sir. All right. We are moving quickly along. Okay, so now, you guys might not like this part, but what was not included? Leggings. We are not wearing leggings to interviews or to work. Okay? Sweatpants. Also not appropriate. I don't care who the designer is. We're not wearing sweatpants. Same with basketball shorts. I don't think I need to include that. Do you all have a dress code, Mr. Carter?
For the student body?
For the RAs. Ooh. Might be something to think about. That would be actually really cool if you guys did get shirts. Yeah, polos.
We didn't get any.
Oh. All right, moving on. Sound like that was a sore spot. Flip-flops and slides. We're not wearing, I don't care if they're Gucci flip-flops. We are not wearing them. And lastly, designer anything. So the reason I say designer anything is because it's not mandatory. That's the point I'm trying to make. It's not essential for you to be in designer, for you to look professional, and for you to look put together. That's the point I'm trying to make. So you can still look presentable, but your outfit does not have to cost 4 figures, okay? So just always keep that in mind. All right, so I hear you guys are getting some headshots. So I did want to touch on just a few things. Number 1, hair. So hair. This is a touchy subject. All I'm going to say is just make sure you comb your hair.
I was going to ask you about that.
Mm-hmm.
The generation that we are in today, a lot of people are trying to, like, accepting afros and stuff like that, but then again, you do have some people who don't. And they want you to be in your natural way, and it is a natural way.
So that I'm glad that you brought that up because you are right. And it depends on the industry. There are some industries and companies that are a lot more progressive, but there are some that still have not accepted it. So what I would say, my recommendation would be to go with what works for you. If you feel very passionate about wearing your hair in its natural state, work for a company that also supports that. And I wouldn't try to force an entire organization to accept you on day one. You know, it just doesn't really make sense to me. I would just go somewhere where I know I'm accepted and I'm valued, right? So that if you want, I'm not saying that, I do have some examples with some natural hair, but I do think, yes, you have to be comfortable in what you're doing. I wouldn't say press your hair just for an interview or wear it a certain way just for the interview, because if that's the company that you're going to spend your time and, you know, really invest yourself in, you have to feel valued and important there. Did I answer your question? Okay, what would repeat your question?
No, you answered it, but I don't know. Because how would you find out that company is right for you in that type of situation?
So I would say 9 times out of 10, you're either going to get a company tour so you can see you can go in there and you can walk. If you feel, but I'll go back to it. If you feel very passionately about wearing your afro or your hair in your natural state, wear it to the interview. Show up in your authentic self, because I don't think that an afro for the right organization, for a progressive organization, is going to stop you from getting a job. What do you mean down? Like, so It depends. I wouldn't want, if your bun is taking up the entire picture, that can be, you don't want it to overpower your face, right? So honestly, I might do a low bun, or yeah, I'll probably do a low bun. Okay, thought I saw a hand. But yeah, so the point I was trying to make was comb your hair, because that's all. And then also speaking to the afro thing, this afro is over, you can't even see her face, right? It's overpowering her. So there's nothing wrong with having your hair in its natural state, but just make sure we can see your face, that's all. And the colored hair. Now I've seen this a lot on campus. And honestly, fun fact about me, I had pink hair when I went to Clark. I had pink hair, blue, green, and yellow. It's still on my Facebook. Don't look it up. But it was not in my headshot, okay? That's the point I'm trying to make, because this is gonna last you. Next thing, your clothes. So this is something I stand by, and I will talk to anybody about it. Your collar, when you wear your suit, should be inside of your jacket. Do not put that collar outside your jacket, okay? Please. Do you have a question? So this is incorrect. Picture one. Incorrect. Also, just make sure, make sure your clothes fit. We've all been, down with the pandemic. We've gained some pounds. It's okay. You might just have to size up. But it is a distraction when your clothes are too small or they don't fit. And then lastly, the ruffles are just a bit distracting. She's a petite woman. You see all this shirt. It just can be a little bit of a distraction. All right, and then the last thing, makeup. And I know some people might not like what I have to say, but the lashes cannot take over the headshot, okay? This is not the time to put the 21 in or size 21s out for the headshot. You can wear them whenever you want, but I want to be able to see your eyes, okay? All right, so this is an example. These are some amazing headshots. We have some people with dreadlocks. We have different colors showing here. We have some low cut, some weaves, some natural, some crochets. You can see the jewelry is simple. It's not all blinged out extra, because you really want to focus on the person. You don't want any distractions in here. So this is just some inspiration for you all as you prepare for your headshots. Any questions on this? Okay, cool. So now we're getting to the last section, and I'm going to need some participation. So I hope you all are feeling up to it. So we're going to go over the elevator pitch just really quickly. This is a brief introduction on who you are, what you do, what you want, and then it also has a call to action. And the elevator pitch is really used by everyone. You use it all the time, whether you realize it or not. Not just in professional settings, but really anytime you meet someone, you talk about, well, I'm a student at Clark-Atlanta University, X, Y, and Z. So it's good to just make sure that you are perfecting this pitch. So when it comes to it, number one, the key thing is being clear on what you want. So you want to make sure that you understand either what role you're trying to go into, or just basically the whole point of the conversation, right? So be very clear in that. And with that clarity is going to build confidence. So I know someone spoke earlier about me being confident or being able to speak well. Well, it's because I practiced this presentation a few times, and I'm very clear and passionate about what I'm talking about, right? So once you are very clear on that, it comes across. You don't want to be having your head down and you're coming up and saying, hi, my name is Krista. And no, you want to stand up straight, have eye contact, and speak with confidence. Right? And then the last thing is consistency. So as you practice this, practice in the mirror, practice with your friends, you go to different networking events, you'll be saying this and it'll be so easy for you. So who in here has a great elevator pitch already? All right, let's hear it. Oh, you want to come? Do you mind coming to the front?
No, I don't mind.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. Anybody else? Nobody else has a good elevator pitch? Okay. Do you mind removing your mask?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I'm starting my LSAT process.
Oh, perfect.
So that's probably what it's gonna be.
Okay. That's fine. You gonna say yours? Okay, cool.
Did I say to you? Or
Oh, to everybody. All right, wait, what's your name?
Madison.
All right, Madison's gonna say her pitch. Can we give her our attention, please? All right, go ahead.
Hello, I am Madison Forney, a sophomore political science scholar attending the illustrious Clark Atlanta University. Thank you for allowing me to have this opportunity to interview with you. Currently, I'm in the process of starting my LSAT process. I'm looking at top 50 ranking law schools as well as Ivy Leagues as well. Currently, I'm looking at Georgetown, University of Maryland, as well as Harvard. In the summertime, I will have internships with the Capitol in Georgia as well as in DC. So if you have any opportunities, please feel free to reach me at X, Y, and Z or at X, Y, and Z. Thank you so much for your time.
Excellent. Let's give her a hand. Thank you, Madison. All right, what's your name?
Joseph.
Joseph. Okay. Let's hear yours.
Good afternoon. I am Joseph Evans, a dual degree engineer with a concentration in physics, all the way from New Orleans, Louisiana. And I am currently pursuing my degree on the electrical side of engineering. So I am currently at IT as well as tech, pursuing different programs under that. And I am also doing summer internships with Toyota, Mitsubishi, and various other things that revolve around circuitry and circuit analysis.
Come on, you got it.
It's been a little while. My apologies. I am Joseph Evans, a dual degree engineer with a concentration in physics, all the way from New Orleans, Louisiana. I am currently pursuing tech and also Georgia Tech as well as NCAT to pursue my electrical degree as well as my physics degree. I am currently undergoing internships that revolve around Toyota, Mitsubishi, as well as other technical appliances that will advance my knowledge around the development of electrical engineering. I currently am undergoing internships that consist of the Make It Right program, as well as other various things that will help the community, as well as develop my engineering understanding. Thank you for your time.
All right. Thank you. Thank you to our two brave souls. I appreciate you guys for volunteering. Okay, so now that you've heard those two elevator pitches, let's get into, I would say, the 4 key aspects of it. So number 1, introduce yourself. Did they both introduce themselves?
Yes.
All right. Summary of what you do. Did they give us a summary of what they do?
Yes.
All right. Explain what you want. Did they both tell us what they wanted?
No.
No. Okay. So did Madison tell us what she wanted? What did she want?
She wanted a job in law school. She took her LSAT. She looked at the top 50. She said Harvard. I forgot the rest of them, but that's what she said.
Okay. All right. Great. And then where'd he go?
No.
Is he okay? Oh, okay. Did he tell us what he wants?
He said what he got.
Oh, okay. So that was missing. All right. All right. Take a note of that. Last one, call to action. Did Madison give us a call to action?
Yes. She said reach me at XYZ, XYZ.
All right. What about our gentleman? All right. So take a note of that. So these are the 4 key things, right? So we really don't need to go over my example because we had 2 amazing examples. But now that you all have the framework, does anyone want to give it a shot?
Of course they do. We'll have another young lady, another young man, right?
Perfect.
Go.
Let's see. Oh, are you standing? Come on.
Surely y'all don't want me to pick.
Any brave souls? All right, come on down. Come on down. All right, now do I have a gentleman or another lady? Come on, don't let her come down by herself. What's your name? Imara. Imara. All right, come on down. Let's give him a hand. All right.
Hello, my name is Talia Brown. I'm from Wicks, Mississippi. I am a senior business administration major with a concentration in management. I am looking for a job in the management field, particularly in sports entertainment management.
Okay.
Yes.
Call to action.
And And you can reach me at 601-716-4953 or at my email, Tyrion, TYRION722 @gmail.com.
All right. So one piece of feedback for the call to action. You want the ball to be in your court. So what I recommend is that you get their contact information, because they're going to be collecting business cards, they're going to be getting phone numbers, resumes all day, right? But you want to say, hey, can I get your card and we could talk about future opportunities next week? Or can I set up a Zoom coffee virtual meeting? So I would say get their contact information so that the ball is in your court. Does that make sense? All right. Imari, let's go.
Okay.
Do you mind removing your mask, please?
Oh, no, I don't mind.
Thank you.
My name is Imara Hunter. I am a junior majoring in theater and communication studies. I am a stage and film actress looking to sign to an agency that concentrates in sitcom and film. You can reach me at 510-221-1002. Thank you.
Are you from Oakland?
I am from
Okay.
Oakland.
I'm from San Jose, so. A character. A character. Thank you very much. Let's give them a hand. All right, so we are wrapping up. I know it's been kind of a long session, so we're actually going to skip all of these. So recap. I appreciate you all's time on this evening and your attention. So what did we do tonight? We talked about perfecting your professional profile. We talked about our resumes, the cover letter, and LinkedIn. We talked about dressing for success. So I gave you all some examples on the 12 essentials every professional should own. And then we talked about headshot do's and don'ts. And then lastly, we talked about communicating with confidence and practice the elevator pitch just a little bit. So I do have a template for the cover letter, for the resume, as well as the elevator pitch. So I'll ask Mr. Carter how to get these documents to you all, but you will have this information so you all can practice. All right, so as we close, this is my favorite quote, and it says, have a vision, be demanding. And basically what this means, well, first of all, what do you think this means? What does this mean to you? Yes.
Know what you want and always stick to it. Don't let nobody push you away to another thing. Just stick to what you want and go down that road.
Love it, exactly. Anybody else?
Just know what you want and take it, because it say be demanding. So when you like give demand, it's like, go do this.
Exactly. Exactly. Perfect. And that's exactly what I am imploring you all to do as students here at Clark Atlanta University. Have a vision. Think about what it is that you want to do. Some of you all are sophomores. Some of you all are seniors. And I'm not saying you have to have it all figured out while you're here on campus, but at least have a vision for yourself, right? And be demanding to go after that. I know the pandemic probably shook things up as far as your expectations and how you all, your college experience, but still be relentless in your pursuit on what it is that you want to do, okay? So with that being said, I love to end my workshops with some positive affirmations because I feel like you can definitely speak things into existence, and it's important to speak positivity into your lives. So for this section, we're all going to read them together, okay? So I don't want to just hear myself, because we'll start over. All right, here we go. I am confident in my ability to be successful. I am resilient and will overcome any challenge that comes my way. I am strong enough to seek help and take a break when needed. My gifts and creativity will open doors for me. I am prepared to receive all of the opportunities and blessings that are headed my way. Thank you all so much. So, before we close, are there any final questions or comments? No, ask it because you raised your hand.
It's fine.
No, ask it.
You see how we was just doing the affirmations? I thought we was going to say I affirm.
Oh, okay. But you're affirming it. So you want to take a picture of it and then all right, there you go. Yes, in the back.
What's your profession?
What is my profession? So I am an IT project manager by day, but I'm an image consultant. That's what my true passion is. So I'm here representing my image consulting firm, which is Critique Consulting. Anybody else? So that means you guys didn't scan that first screen. You did scan it? Oh, okay. All right, so actually, so there's no questions? No? All right, so what I am asking of you is if you can please scan this. This is actually a 10-question survey. So this helps me improve for further workshops. It helps me know what I did great, what I need to improve on. So please just take 5 minutes to fill this out. I appreciate you all's time and participation. This was amazing. You guys are a great group. So Mr. Carter, I could see why you just love your babies. They are great. So I hope tonight was insightful, and that's it. Thank you.